This story is about power, silent revenge, and what happens when someone you underestimate finally speaks.
The call ended before I could say thank you. I stared at my phone as the screen went dark, my reflection faintly visible. Calm face, steady eyes. The kind of face people trusted. The kind that never begged for invitations. Family only, her mother had said earlier that evening, voice sugar-coated and sharp beneath. My wife didn't argue. She just picked up her clutch and avoided my eyes. Now the house was silent. Outside, somewhere across town, champagne glasses clinked. Laughter spilled over white tablecloths. Her sister's engagement party bloomed without me, as if I were an inconvenience that could be edited out. I stood at the kitchen counter, phone warm in my hand. Another call, another quiet confirmation. The man on the other end spoke carefully, respectfully, unaware he was dismantling a legacy built on borrowed prestige. "Yes," he said, "effective immediately." I exhaled, not in relief, in focus, because this wasn't about an invitation. It was about the moment I realized my absence was intentional, strategic, planned. I looked at the framed family photo on the wall, my wife between her parents, smiling too perfectly. I finally understood. This wasn't exclusion, it was erasure, and erasure requires response. The signs had always been there. I just filed them away, like unread emails marked for later. Her family never asked about my work, never used my name in introductions. I was her husband, a placeholder, a temporary detail. That night clarified everything. When my wife returned home hours later, perfume clinging to her coat, she kissed my cheek like muscle memory. "You'd have been bored," she said lightly. "It was all family stuff." Family. I nodded, smiled, counted the lies. She didn't notice my stillness. She never did. She mistook silence for ignorance, patience for weakness. What she didn't know, what none of them knew, was that I had spent years watching how power actually worked. Who owed whom, which reputations were real, and which were leased by proximity. Her mother thrived on committees. Her father lived for memberships. Their status was a house of mirrors, impressive from a distance, fragile up close. And me? I was the glass they never bothered to inspect. That night, lying beside my wife as she slept easily, I understood the betrayal wasn't romantic, it was hierarchical. They believed I was beneath them. Worse, my wife agreed. I didn't confront her. I sharpened myself instead. I made lists, quiet ones, names, boards, donors, friends who weren't actually friends. Phone records told me which favors had been exchanged. Calendar invites revealed how often her parents' influence was borrowed rather than earned. I attended my meetings, paid my dues, smiled politely when her mother spoke over me at brunch. Inside, something cold aligned. Every night my wife talked about wedding plans, flowers, venues. My mother thinks. I listened. I learned. And I made calls. Not threats, clarifications. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't explain myself. I simply reminded people who truly underwrote their comfort. By the time the engagement photos hit social media, the machinery was already moving, slow, precise, unstoppable. The first email arrived at dawn. Her mother screamed before reading it twice. The country club membership revoked. The charity board requested her resignation. Her father's golf privileges under review. Confusion turned to panic. They came to our house together, faces pale, rehearsed outrage cracking at the edges. Her mother looked at me like she was finally seeing a stranger. "What did you do?" she demanded. I handed her my phone, opened to a call log, names she recognized, numbers she didn't realize mattered. My wife's breath hitched. She looked at me then, really looked. You did this?" I nodded once. No anger, no pride, just fact. Her father sank into a chair. Her mother whispered, "Who are you?" I met her eyes. "The man you told didn't belong." My wife cried. Not for me, for the collapse. "I didn't think it mattered," she said. "It was just a party." I leaned close enough for her to hear my calm. "It mattered because you agreed with them." Silence broke her faster than shouting ever could. I told them I hadn't destroyed anything. I'd simply stopped protecting illusions. The calls weren't revenge, they were corrections. Her parents left without threats, without dignity. My wife stood in the doorway, unsure which side of the ruin she belonged to. I took off my wedding ring and placed it on the table. "I won't attend things I'm not invited into," I said, "and I won't stay where I'm invisible." The house feels larger now, quieter. My phone hasn't rung in days. Their world recalibrates without me cushioning its fall. My wife moved back with her parents. Ironic, considering they no longer know where they stand. I don't miss her. I miss the version of myself that thought belonging was granted, not claimed. Power doesn't announce itself. It waits. And when it moves, it doesn't ask permission. I didn't lose a family that night. I lost the need to be accepted by one. And that was the real invitation.